What is good? Osiris here, and I'm here to tell you why I'm stuck in the middle on this hot topic right now. We're talking about gender-affirming care.
Today on the Matt Walsh Show, children's hospitals around the country are butchering, mutilating, and sterilizing their young patients. So according to Boston Children's Hospital, literally every toddler who has ever been born or will ever be born is trans. Now, if it seems like they're casting the widest imaginable net in order to catch the most children they can and put them all on a path to sterilization and butchery before they can even talk, well, that's because that's exactly what these monsters are doing. And they've done it up until this moment without much resistance from the public. But that has to end. We have to stop making it so easy on them. And that's why I'm in the very early stages of trying to organize a national coordinated effort to fight back against this evil. You know, it's really just a matter of where do we begin? Maybe we begin at Boston Children's Hospital.
Boston Children's Hospital says its staff is being threatened and harassed now after far-right activists on social media posted misinformation claiming they perform gender-affirming hysterectomy procedures on young girls. The hospital says it's not true. They do not perform those procedures for anyone under the age of 18. Boston Children's Hospital says it is proud, though, to be home to the first pediatric and adolescent transgender health program in the United States. The hospital, though, now is working with law enforcement to try to better protect its staff in the face of these lies.
Isn't that a weird way for CNN to say that they agree with Matt Walsh that these surgeries should be for 18 or older?
They do not perform those procedures for anyone under the age of 18.
So if Matt Walsh and Libs of TikTok say, we saw on their website or we heard from their mouth that they were doing surgeries on young children, and the CNN and other fact checkers are saying, no, it's only 18 or older, do we agree then? Shouldn't that be an agreement that we're fine with legislation to keep that procedure to people who are 18 or older? Is that what's considered hate or harassment to talk about this topic? How do we talk about this topic? How can we disagree on this topic without it being hate? That's what I need from this side. Is it not legit to talk about it? Is it not okay to say, here's my take on it? How do you do that without being hateful? We know why they're applying that label of hate on it. It's so they can use this term, stochastic terrorism.
For people who don't know, stochastic terrorism is the idea that if you have a big platform and you go out on that platform and you say day after day after day, so-and-so is a terrible person and something needs to be done about them. They are kidnapping children and killing people, whatever, right? And you say, this person is a problem, this person is a problem. Given a sufficiently large enough audience of people, you would start to realize that the probability that at least one person in that audience, by virtue of having heard you say, this is a bad person we need to do something about, is actually going to go out there and might attack the person you've been demonizing.
And what that does is inch you closer and closer to what Kathy Hochul was saying, that hate speech is not protected by the Constitution.
Yeah, I'll protect the First Amendment any day of the week, but you don't protect hate speech. You don't protect incendiary speech.
I don't want to be hateful. I am not hateful. They are labeling anybody who doesn't agree with them as hateful. So then now you're a little bit closer to locking down, like literally shackled up for your speech. Boston's Children's Hospital had a bomb threat. We don't want to see that. Nobody has called for that. Nobody wants that. It's stupid. But look how they label it. How right-wing media escalate harassment of LGBTQ friendly places. Why is this called harassment? What's the definition of harassment? Can we not talk about this topic? What is the age that we're doing these surgeries on? So the media outlet Forbes ties in this threat that happened to this generic term of right-wing influencers, including Libs of TikTok, Daily Caller. I'm sure they would include Matt Walsh in that as well. They're calling it a sharp escalation in a growing campaign to target individuals and organizations. They're calling it harassment. So Libs of TikTok, for example, who they called out, tweets out things like Boston Children's Hospital is now offering gender-affirming hysterectomies for young girls. Notice Libs of TikTok did not give any age range. So they didn't say, they said young girls. They didn't say 18, 19, 16, 15, 14. They just said young girls. And this is real journalism, because after Libs of TikTok did this with the over 1 million followers and heavy influence, Libs of TikTok, that account is one hell of a story. After Libs of TikTok brought up this topic, Boston Children's Hospital updated their website. They updated their website to clarify that they only do these procedures on people who are 18 or older. I'm ignorant here. Also, I didn't know children's hospitals did procedures on 18-year-olds. I don't know how that works. Is it because you have to do the consult? If you're going to do a procedure at 18, that means you would have to be doing the consultation potentially before they're even 18. But I don't understand that part. But this is real journalism. It forced them to take a stance and clarify. But the hospital could have said, yes, we've been doing it, and here's why. Or they could have said, no, we haven't been doing it, which I haven't heard that yet. All I heard them say is they put out this update that's 18 or older. It's interesting to me that no media outlets are asking them, well, have you ever done it for anybody younger than 18? That would be follow-up journalism. We're not getting that from the mainstream media. We know they never play by their own rules. Is this harassment? Nandini Jami states, 5 years ago, I co-founded the campaign to make Breitbart unprofitable. They lost 90% of their ad revenues in 3 months. Today, we're launching the campaign to take on Fox News, and we know exactly how to get the job done. Guys, I'm not talking about whether you agree or not with Breitbart or if you agree or not with Fox News in this video. I don't need that. That's not where I'm going with this. I just want to know, are you going to follow your own rules? If Matt Walsh says, I want to talk about these hospitals.
And that's why I'm in the very early stages of trying to organize a national coordinated effort to fight back against this evil.
And Nandini Jami wants to talk about Breitbart and Fox News and go after their payroll, their income stream.
There are a handful of individuals in America who tell lies for a living, who are pulling us apart and pushing our country to its limits because it makes them money. We didn't elect these people into power, and we can't vote them out of office. They're using their influence to lead us straight into another violent insurrection in 2024.
There's one way to stop them. Cut them off at the source.
Every YouTube video,
Every live stream,
every article promoting the big lie and stop the...
By attacking their advertisers and trying to guilt their advertisers into dropping them, aren't those two the same thing? What's the difference?
And that's why I'm in the very early stages of trying to organize a national coordinated effort to fight back against this evil.
there's one way to stop them. Cut them off at the source.
The co-founders of this nonprofit is Check My Ads, Nandini Jami, and Claire Atkin. If they can do it, anyone should be able to do it. If you wonder why I say this is all about control, that's why. You can do it, you celebrate it, you virtue signal on it, and then you attack somebody else who does it just because you disagree. We can't live like this with two different rules. And when you talk about stochastic terrorism, well, remember last Christmas, a vagrant known to cops went out and set the Fox News Christmas tree on fire. Nobody said, hey, all these people who are talking about hate on Fox News, and I'm not a fan of Fox News other than Tucker. We didn't say, hey, that must have came from some left-winger. Steve Scalise, member of Congress that got shot, remember? James T. Hodgkinson said he was a staunch Bernie Sanders supporter. Nobody to this day on the right blames Bernie Sanders for that. What they're trying to do with Matt Walsh, Libs of TikTok, everybody else, they're starting with the high influencers, but that would apply to you too. The only reason they don't go to you or me, we don't have as much influence as they do. Libs of TikTok, they weren't messing with her when she had, I think I subscribed to her when she had like 65,000 or something like that followers. They weren't messing with her. They didn't care. She's got 1 million now, and she's the #1 target out there. Same thing that they did to Trump. You think this is about Trump? This isn't about Trump. I'm looking at truth, facts. Newsweek did a fact check. Did Donald Trump say to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard? They did a fact check. They said mostly true. Newsweek, a fact check is either true or false. There's no mostly or partially or anything else in between.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard today.
If a parent and a child and a doctor agree on anything, it ain't got nothing to do with me. It's not my business. So if you want to do gender affirming care and you've got the consent of a child, for me, it would be both guardians or however many guardians the child has. I would say they both have to agree, but I don't know how that works in the court of law. But if you have a child, their guardians, and a doctor, and they agree on a procedure, then it ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm out of it. People said, well, what if a minor and a child agree to drink underage? No doctor is making that case. You have to have the child, their parents, guardians, or a doctor. All three have to be met. Is it possible that a doctor is wrong? Of course it is. We should have the freedom and liberty to be right or wrong, and it's not my job to tell you if your morals are right or wrong. I know people are very much disgusted by it, so I say we have to compromise. Even though that's my take, and Kim Iverson has the same take, I think, as I do. Hey, Kim, it sounds like you're coming over to the side of liberty. But I'm willing to compromise to try and keep this relationship together. Guys like Matt Walsh, Nick Rekieta, Lives of TikTok, their take is just wait until you're 18 and we don't give a damn. If that is a radical position, that's all Matt Walsh is saying. That, believe it or not, that's all he's saying. And they're getting all this hate and all this pushback. We can't leave this one up to the states. The moral divide here is too big. It would be just like leaving up unliving somebody. In one state, you can unlive somebody. In another state, you can't. You can do that, but we can't be a union of 50 states. So this one can't be left up. This one cannot be left up to the states. It's too divisive. Right now, this is a hotter topic than critical race theory or anything. It's critical gender theory, same offshoot. But this is really a heated conversation because if it's controversial to say, let's just leave it for people who are 18 or older, we don't know what the ramifications are. It's just, let's let somebody be adult before they make these life-altering changes. The reason why this is such a hot topic is, it's not even just that. It's, if the take of leaving it up to 18, which I am fine with compromising on, if that makes you a right-wing nutjob MAGA bigot, then you've got too much force, you've got too much authority, you're not somebody I can work with if that's not a reasonable, how am I supposed to compromise with you if that's not a reasonable compromise? That's what we need. We've got to calm things down and we've got to compromise. Let me know what you think. Take care.
You know what? Like, I didn't set the age of majority, but it is the age of majority. We as a society or whatever got together at some point and just were like, no, this is where we think it is. It might move it someday or another. Right now, that's where it is. And so if you're doing that to kids, life-changing drug exposure and stuff like that to children, like I will never think that that's correct. That's just not in my playbook. I also don't think you should give kids cocaine, for example. So I say that, and then people are like, "You're a transphobe. You hate trans people." But in the same sentence, I'm like, when they're 18, they can make their decisions and do whatever they want. Like, I don't care if you go transition. I don't care if you inject yourself full of hormones or steroids or meth or sweet tea, like what I'm drinking right now. Like, I honestly, once you turn 18, go do whatever you want to your body that's not fucking around with someone else's. And I'm not sure why this is such a controversial position, but it is, apparently.